on to opponent number 2 of the Kanto Classic from Luxembourg, El Shini. And they've got a Vileplume, Arcanine, Jolteon, Amistar, Dragonite, and Snorlax. So there could be a potential for some sun, possible rain as well. So this could be a weather-based team, which we haven't really planned for, but we're going to try to work around that. We don't have anything on our side that really makes use of the weather other than type attacks being boosted in whatever type of condition. Now we see 2 possible problems for Sheldon as a lead, the Vileplume or the Jolteon. But would they lead with either of those? They could actually lead either the Arcanine or the Amistar to try to get some weather conditions up and speed up some of their other Pokemon. So I'm going to go ahead and lead with... I think Machamp is actually a pretty decent lead. We can go for some low sweeps, try to slow anything down that might come in, and get some maybe super effective damage off on some of the opponent's Pokemon. And of course we're going to bring the other 5 in reserve. Alright, El Shini, or Shiny, or however you want to pronounce that. The battle gets underway, let's see what they lead off with. I am loving this Kanto Classic competition. Go Machamp! And they're going to start off with a Voltally, which is going to be that Jolteon. Of course we can Earthquake this. Jolteon doesn't get anything super effective against Machamp that I'm aware of. They could go for a Thunder Wave, in which case they're going to activate the Guts. So I'm going to go for Low Sweep. Volt Switch, you're going to switch out. Okay, so whatever comes in, they didn't have a Ghost type from what I recall, so we can get some decent power off and slow things down. So we gotta watch out for the Volt Switch. That looks like a Vileplume. Alright, and now this thing can have Dazzling Gleam, of course. So we just slowed it down. And the effect Spore actually paralyzes us, which does activate the Guts. Now, since Dazzling Gleam could be a problem, I'm going to swap out and go into either Sprout or Blaze. Which of those two would be the best? Because they will both resist the Dazzling Gleam as well as any grass attacks that might come their way. But Sprout is the better choice probably because he will resist any... not resist, but he'll be neutral. Actually, no. He would be neutral to Poison as well as Blaze. But the reason I'm going to go Sprout, he's got more defense. He can't really do anything to this Vileplume in return, however, but if they do swap it, which I expect they might do, I can get the light screen up. Alright, what are you going to go for? They go for Sludge Bomb. So again, I am partly resistant to it. That did more than I would like, but since we slowed this thing down, we can probably outspeed for sure with our Venusaur, so the light screen is the way to go. They actually stay in, okay. Now since they're going for the Sludge Bomb, I can actually swap into Arbok. Come on, don't crit. Sweet. Alright, so we're going to pull Sprout out of there. He's done his light screen job for the time being. Arbok is coming in next. We're going to intimidate this thing. Not that it's going to matter. But if they do swap out on the following turn, then I can throw the Substitute out. But it looks like they might be swapping right now. Could be going for a physical type attacker, which, if we actually swapped second, that would have been great, because we would get the Intimidate drop on whatever comes in. Come on, you want to stay in. You want to stay in. You don't want to switch. Nope, they're switching out. Right, but what do they switch into? Arcanine. Now, they can probably intimidate us. It is a shiny Arcanine. Look at this thing. So they have intimidated us, which isn't the best thing. Now, I can go into Sheldon, but this thing could have Wild Charge. So I think I'm going to risk taking some good damage on Arbok. Arcanine can learn Earthquake from what I recall. Trying to think. It can go Earthquake, Fire type, maybe Flare Blitz or something. Wild Charge could be a problem. I'm actually going to preserve Arbok. I'm going to bring him back out. I think our best bet is to go for... I don't know. I'm thinking Sheldon. Wild Charge would hurt, but it's not stab, and he has good defense. I'm going to bring Sheldon in and risk that Wild Charge. Sheldon and Machamp are the best ways we have on the team to slow the opponents down. And based on the type matchup, I think Sheldon's probably the least useful. There is a Flare Blitz, which we will resist. Some decent power off. Now, would they swap into a flying type? They might actually go back into their Jolteon. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off a Bulldoze. hoping they don't send in their Dragonite. Actually, they might send the Dragonite, because we do have Scald, they want something to resist it. Now, if they go Dragonite, that's not the biggest thing. I can go Avalanche on the next turn. So we're going to Bulldoze. Looks like the Arcanine might be swapping out at this point. This is really fun, I gotta say. Like, I know on my channel I haven't had the best run in the Wi-Fi battles leading up to this point. I've been pretty bad, especially in the double battles in Omega Ruby. But I've gotten to the point now where I feel more confident in predicting what my opponent is going to do. So Arcanine swaps out. If we see Dragonite, this could be a problem. Ronflex. Actually Snorlax. Alright, so a Belly Drum could be a real issue from this thing. I'm gonna... I don't know, I can try for the Scald Burn, or I could go for the straight-up Intimidate from Arbok. I think Intimidate might be the best way to go, except if they go Bulldoze, or Body Slam. If they go Belly Drum, I think that outdoes the Intimidate. I think it just maxes the attack stat immediately. So I'm just going to stay in and go for a Scald, see what they're going to go for. And like I say, if we're lucky, we will get the burn. So there's a basic Body Slam. So they might not have Belly Drum. Okay, we just lost the light screen. I'm going to go into Arbok now to intimidate this Snorlax. Unfortunately, our Arbok does have Intimidate rather than Shed Skin, so if this Body Slam does paralyze Arbok, then we have no way to cure that. However, lowering the attack stat of a Snorlax is always a good thing to go for. They're going to withdraw the Snorlax. And they go in for the... what was it again? The Vileplume. I saw the name Rafflesia, and I'm trying to think, what is the English name? So is there anything this thing could do to us? I highly doubt it. So therefore, I'm going to substitute right now. So they stay in, and what do they go for? Sleep Powder. Well, too bad. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and fire off a Glare attack. If they bring the Jolteon, that would be the problem, because of course we can't paralyze that, but anything else on their team can take a nice paralysis from the Glare. Looks like they might be pulling this thing out now. Yeah, that the substitute came in really handy, so that Sleep Powder had no effect on our Arbok. Alright, Elshini, what are you up to here? If you're gonna swap out, don't swap in that Jolteon. I mean, I could go for a pretty powerful Poison Jab, of course. And I believe if they brought the Arcanine in, I think Intimidate still works through the substitute. Unless they changed it in Gen 6, but I think I remember in previous generations, the Intimidate would still drop my attack while I had Substitute active. Alright, come on, they're taking their time. They are going to withdraw, so whatever comes in, as long as it's not Jolteon, it is the Snorlax. Alright, so we will get a nice paralysis off. As I said in the team builder, Glare has been increased to 100% accuracy in this generation. So if they have Rest on this thing, that could be a problem also, but I can just go for a Poison Jab. I keep wanting to say Body Slam. As soon as I see Snorlax, Body Slam comes to mind. I'm just going to Poison Jab and get some damage off now that we have our substitute up. Of course, Snorlax are quite defensive, so that doesn't do too much. And they do have Earthquake. So knowing that, I do want to swap out. One of the abilities a Snorlax can have is Thick Fast. That means Fire and Ice attacks won't be the best thing. I can go into Zapdos right now. Would they go for a Body Slam? Even if they go for a Body Slam, it will hurt Zapdos, but we can't be paralyzed. And I can get a Substitute and Roost combo up. So we're going to pull back and go for our Flying-type Legendary Bird Zapdos. Thus preserving Arbok for a future Intimidate as well. But paralyzing the Snorlax is definitely good. Unless it has Rest, it could just easily cure that up. But thanks to no held items in this competition, you can't use the Resto-Chesto combo. Looks like they're carefully selecting what to do next as well. The mind games are happening. Both sides have a pretty powerful physical Pokemon with paralysis status right now, and 5 other Pokemon still raring to go. we await my opponent's decision. Alright, Arbok is going to come back first, because he does outspeed. Of course, we're going to see that before the Snorlax swaps out, if they do swap. And we're applying the pressure, and we're going to see that they go for the Body Slam, so this is going to hurt. But we can go for the substitute. In fact, I could just Roost right now, probably. No, I'm going to substitute first. If they swap out, then we'll have a nice clean substitute ready to go. And then, of course, if they do go for the Body Slam and break the substitute, I can just Roost anyway that turn. That way I'll get the full 50% back, as opposed to just, what is it, 75 HP restored. Alright, the mind games continue. Pretty sure the Jolteon will be the only problem for Zapdos to take care of. We do have the Hidden Power Fighting, which I do want to use on the Snorlax at some point, but now is not the right time. So the Snorlax does retreat and gives us a free chance for a substitute. In comes the Jolteon. So as I say, we can easily get our Roost attack right now. They're not going to use Volt Switch and go into something that would be weak to Electric, so there's no reason to go for the Discharge right now. Roost is the way to go, even if the Volt Switch breaks. Ooh, Hidden Power must be Ice. Yep. Ice or Rock. Now, they do break the sub. We are going to get the Roost attack. So this thing has, I'm going to assume Ice and Electric. That really limits our options on what we can switch in. And Zapdos is not the one to take this battle. I want to save Zapdos for someone else. At this point, they're going to go for that Ice attack. I want someone that can slow this thing down. I don't think Sheldon's the way to do that. So I'm going to actually swap into Sheldon right now and let him take the hit. And if Machamp comes in, we can go for the low sweep. Alright, get in there, Sheldon. Take a hit for the team. And they're going to go for the Thunderbolt. So Thunderbolt, Hidden Power, Ice, and Volt Switch. So as I say, Machamp is probably the next way to go. A Thunderbolt might take him down at this range, though. However, I am going to go for Machamp. We are going to try that low sweep. This Jolteon is definitely going to be a problem. An even bigger problem is the fact that I just dropped my Stylus. One moment. If I lost my Stylus, this battle is over, but I found it. Okay, so now that we're back, I'm going to go for that low sweep attack. See, I could Earthquake, but they could swap into a flying type, so I'm just going to low sweep away. There's the Volt Switch. Now, I think we survived the first one. We should survive this also. Yep, back it goes. So, the Guts boosted low sweep, as long as we don't get fully paralyzed this turn, it's going to do a decent number of damage. Bring the Snorlax in. I would just love to see that. No, it is actually the Vileplume. So we do manage to get the low sweep off through the paralysis. So this thing went for Sludge Bomb before. I'm going to just stay in. I think I'm just going to let Machamp take the hit. Because at 28 HP, he's not going to come in and survive an attack, especially being paralyzed. I'm just going to go for the Ice Punch. I could try Earthquake. They might swap the Jolteon back in. That might be insane of them to do, but I'm just going to try the Earthquake. Yeah, they just go for the Giga Drain to heal back some HP. So, at this point, one of the best options I have is to send in Blaze. When I do that, what would they swap in exchange? My opponent still has their entire team, if I recall correctly. So, I can go for an obvious play, which is Fire-type attack. They can go for something resistant to that. Now, the Jolteon is going to outspeed. What did they have that was resistant? I've only seen a few of their Pokemon back and forth so far. Snorlax could be a problem. You know, I'm going to make a risky play, not expecting what's going to happen. I'm just going to try Thunder Punch and see what happens. Let's hope that Jolteon doesn't come in with Volt Absorb. Ooh, it's an Amistar. Let's go for that Thunder Punch. Well, it was a cool play, but we didn't actually do much damage. So, definitely want to swap out. Our options for sending Pokemon in are getting pretty limited at this point. Sprout would be the best way to take this thing out with an Energy Ball. You know, I think I kind of have to let Blaze go down. No, he's our best bet for the Vileplume. At this point, I don't think Arbok has much to contribute to the rest of the team, unfortunately, so I'm going to swap Arbok in right now. If he survives a hit, we could get another Giga Drain, or not Giga Drain. I keep mentioning other attacks. I meant Glare. I can try to get Paralysis off with the Glare attack. And of course, Amistar is a special base attacker, so Intimidate is not going to do anything. And Shell Smash. They knew I was going to stay in. Definitely a good play by my opponent. Now, I'm just going to have to try the Glare attack and hope we can get this thing. Amistar, I don't think are that fast, but at double the speed, they probably outspeed Arbok. Yeah, and the Scald attack, I think we just lost our seed. Down he goes. So if this thing has an Ice attack, the match is pretty well over, but I'm going to send Sprout in now. With a Shell Smash up, they're probably not going to want to swap this thing out. They'll probably take anything we can throw at it. So we're just going to launch that Energy Ball. And there's the Ice Beam, so Sprout goes down. Although it's not Stab. Does it matter? Not at all. So, yeah, our team's pretty much done because this thing has super effective moves on both of my Pokemon that are left, Zapdos and Blaze. Zapdos being our faster Pokemon, I'm pretty sure. I'm just going to check the stats. So Zapdos has a speed 163, Blaze has a speed of, where are you? So what was that? 163, Blaze has 137. So yeah, Zapdos is the fastest. If we have any chance of doing anything for the rest of this match, Zapdos is the way to go right now. You're in charge, Zapdos. Alright, our only chance is to go for the Discharge. I almost said Scald, again naming another attack. Let's try the Discharge, and... Nope, Ancient Power. Will that get the KO? It's not as powerful as Scald. Yeah, there's the KO. So unfortunately, Blaze can't do anything to this thing. If it outspeeds Zapdos, it's going to outspeed Blaze. So I'm going to end the match right here. Give it to my opponent. Shell Smash was something I wasn't expecting. So we're going to end it off. Congratulations to my opponent, El Shini. Played a good match, and he just outplayed my team.